Hey everyone, today we're going to tackle one of the most frustrating problems in AI. You ask it for a simple piece of data, and instead you get this polite, super chatty essay. It's time to fix that.
This quote just hits the nail right on the head. You need a single number, one little piece of data to make your code run, but the AI wraps it up in all this friendly fluff. For a person, sure, that's kind of nice, but for your automated pipeline, it's a complete disaster. This is the whole challenge we're talking about today.
And that really gets to the heart of the problem, right? These large language models, they're trained to be helpful, chatty assistants. They love starting their answers with, "Of course, here's the information you asked for." But when your application is expecting clean, raw JSON, that conversational stuff just breaks everything.
So why? Why are these incredibly powerful models so chatty by default? Well, to fix the problem, we've got to look under the hood a little. And it really all comes down to how they're taught to think.
The secret sauce here is something called RLHF, which stands for Reinforcement Learning from Human Feedback. Basically, during training, real humans are sitting there, rating the AI's answers. And what do we as humans tend to prefer? You guessed it, polite, helpful, conversational responses. So the AI learns that this is the right way to answer and just bakes it into its DNA.
Yeah, this really sums it up, doesn't it? The very same process that makes AI so approachable and friendly is the exact thing that makes it a total nightmare for data-driven tasks. We've trained it for politeness, but what we really need is precision.
Andrej Karpathy from OpenAI famously said this, and he's absolutely right. But think about it, English is messy, it's ambiguous. So if we're going to program in English, we need to be the ones who impose our own strict rules and syntax, just like with any other programming language.
All right, so how do we actually do that? How do we impose that structure? Let's get into the practical, hands-on techniques for taming this chaos, starting with some of the most fundamental tools you've got.
One of your most powerful weapons is the system prompt. You should think of it as the AI's permanent job description. If you give it a vague prompt like, "You are a helpful assistant," well, you're just inviting it to be chatty. But if you give it a very specific persona, like a strict data extraction agent, you are setting rigid, unmissable expectations right from the get-go.
Now, this brings up a super common question, and it's a trap almost everyone falls into at first. You're probably tempted to just say, "Don't be chatty," or "Don't add any extra text." But does that actually work?
It turns out it's a terrible idea. It's what's known as the pink elephant problem. If I tell you, don't think of a pink elephant, what's the very first thing you do? You think of one. It's the same for the AI. Telling it, "Don't chat," actually makes it focus on the concept of chatting. The solution is always to use direct positive commands. Be crystal clear about what you want, not what you don't.
Okay, another fantastic tool you should absolutely be using is delimiters. These are just special characters or tags that create a clear boundary between your instructions and the data you want the AI to process. This prevents the AI from getting confused, especially if the text you're analyzing also contains things that look like instructions. The folks at Anthropic who make Claude actually highly recommend using XML tags for this.
All right, we've covered the basic instructions. Now, let's level up. Let's talk about what is, without a doubt, the single most effective way to guarantee you get perfect formatting every single time. You have to show the AI exactly what you want.
And I mean, just look at the data here, it speaks for itself. Research has shown that going from 0 examples to just one single example can boost the model's ability to stick to your format by over 40%. That is a massive, massive jump in reliability.
So this is what we call the difference between zero-shot and one-shot prompting. With zero-shot, you're just telling the AI the instructions. But with one-shot, you're not just telling, you're showing. You give it a perfect input-output pair that demonstrates the exact pattern you expect it to follow.
And here's a really clever little trick you can use. After you've provided your examples, you give the AI your new text, the stuff you actually want it to process, and then you end your entire prompt with a single empty line that just says output. It's like a psychological cliffhanger. It powerfully pushes the model to fill in that blank by just completing the pattern you just showed it. It works so well.
But what happens when the information you're asking for just isn't in the text? The AI default behavior is to apologize and say, "Sorry, I couldn't find that," which, again, breaks your format. You have to plan for this. You have to explicitly tell the model, if you can't find the information, return a null value for that field. This stops the apologies and keeps your code from crashing.
Okay, now for those of you who need absolute, rock-solid, can't-fail reliability, we can move beyond just prompting and into strategies that start to feel a lot more like actual programming.
And this is it. Function calling. Honestly, it's the ultimate cheat code for reliability. Instead of asking the AI to give you back some text that just looks like JSON, you give it a rigid template, a function schema, and you tell it, fill in the blanks. The output you get back isn't just text anymore, it's a perfectly structured data object that is guaranteed to match your schema every single time.
And you know, it's worth remembering that your strategy might need to change a bit depending on the model you're using. GPT-4o, for instance, is amazing with complex JSON. Claude really shines with long documents, especially when you use those XML tags, and something like Llama 3 often needs a really firm, direct instruction like, do not output any pretext.
All right, so let's boil all this down. What are the key things you need to walk away with? First, stop being just a user and start thinking like a prompt architect. Define a strict persona for your AI using the system prompt. Second, always show the AI what you want with examples. Don't just tell it. And finally, for those mission-critical jobs where things absolutely cannot break, use function calling.
Look, mastering these techniques is all about taking back control. It's about taking the chaotic, creative power of AI and channeling it into a reliable, predictable, and productive stream of data. The AI is an incredibly powerful engine. The only question left is, are you ready to finally get in the driver's seat?